Kevin Maguire, as well as being an associate editor at the Daily Mirror, is also linked to Hope Not Hate. He's interviewed several of them, and also I believe he's done the foreword to a couple of books, at least one book. He's obviously pro-immigration, pro-flood in Britain with illegal immigrants and things like that. I'm about to show a quick clip of him overstating a point, and he's completely wrong in what he says. I believe the actual figure he quotes is correct in itself, but implying that that's all the money refugees get is a massive lie. I'm going to quickly show the clip and then I'll speak about it afterwards.
If you've got somebody living in a camp in Calais in really squalid conditions, then you'd have to be lacking compassion not to be concerned about their fate and what they will be condemned to as a result. And of course, at the moment we have a case, if you come and you claim asylum, until you're granted it, you can't work. And you get, if you're put up in a hotel or a hostel or whatever, if you get meals, you get £10 a week cash to buy clothes, toothpaste, whatever. If you don't get meals and you're living somewhere, you get 50, I think it's 49 quid a week. It's been created, all these terrible, terrible myths where Ryland Clark regurgitated, spouted most of them about free iPads and everything.
Hang on. Ryland pointed out that, and we're talking about Ryland, who was presenting on This Morning last week, who pointed out that this country's built on immigration, that he was grateful to all of the migrants who've come to the NHS for helping support his mum, that he was actually concerned, though, that, we've got a sort of welcome to the UK and we don't know who all of these people are. And I have to say, Kevin, it is the duty of government, as the government itself would acknowledge, that we control borders and we do not just welcome everybody if we don't know who they are. And I think Ryland's message struck a chord with a lot of people who said, we're also concerned. He was concerned about illegal routes. He did not want it to be an anti-migration message.
He also, Susanna, regurgitated a load of myths and lies. And let's not ignore that, because...
What were the myths and lies?
You get the free iPads and all, like an El Dorado welcome. It's gone mainstream. Myths and lies have gone mainstream, and we've got to challenge them. We've got to push back on them.
But what people are concerned about is that we give a lot of support to people who are here illegally that is not given to other people.
Well, people do get support. You get benefits if you're unemployed. You get council and social housing, and yes, there's 1.3 million people on social waiting lists for accommodation. They're not created by Biden.
But pointing out,
that figure's been consistent for a long time.
Ryland also pointed out we have a massive homelessness problem. The government itself acknowledges there's not enough housing. So I just think to just say that what Ryland said was outrageous, regurgitating propaganda with lies.
I have pointed out where he did.
He spoke up for a very, very, very decent, silent majority who are deeply concerned about the numbers coming in, and we don't know where these young men are from. We don't know what motives are in their heart either, and it's not racist to be concerned about that. He wasn't racist in saying
and this is another myth that needs challenging, that somehow they're disproportionately likely to be sex offenders and rapists.
No, Ryland didn't say that.
No, he
didn't.
You
didn't say that.
He didn't. We're not.
But how do we know? And if people come illegally and we're not processing them quickly and we're not able to deport them.
How do you know
how do we know who they are?
Somebody who can trace their roots back to William the Conqueror's time in 1066 moves next door to you. You don't really know who they are. You don't know who the parents are of kids in schools. Look, I mean, we can create.
Those people have documentation.
Susanna, we can create an atmosphere where you see strangers as your enemy, or you can see strangers as possibly your neighbour and be okay. And what's happening at the moment is we've gone back all the way to the worst aspects of the 1970s, where racism is becoming mainstream and myths and lies are being peddled.
I understand that, but I think you're also the tone that you're using as well is
He's saying we're racist.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of racism.
Helpful.
He's saying people like me who dare to say there's a great concern that we're racist. And it's shocking to call people racist for having decent people being very concerned about the impacts on their communities, and they don't know where these young men are from. That's not racist to say that.
You know the tone of the whole debate has gone incredibly toxic.
So shouldn't we just keep it calm then and not start pointing fingers at individuals who are simply trying to express a view?
Hang on. You're giving him a clean bill of health when he was fact-checked and showed to be absolutely wrong.
Illegal immigrants in Britain are given a lot more than that. What the government do is they try and hide where they're giving them the money. So the money given to refugees directly is probably around that mark that Maguire has stated. But when you take into account that the government give over £40 million a year to several charities that work with refugees, giving them stuff. And then also when you look at other charities and organisations, a lot of mosques and the Church of England and things like that help out with refugees. There's various different programmes to give them new clothes and things like that. Vodafone's got a scheme where they provide them with either free or discounted SIM cards and new or refurbished mobile phones. So the refugees, although they might only be given £10 a week cash or £50 a week cash, depending on whether they're fed or not, a lot of the mosques provide free food for them. So a lot of them could be getting the £50 a week, then getting the free food from the mosque and free phones from Vodafone or other charities and things like that. Even BBC Children in Need. Obviously, everyone's got a rough idea what a child is. Usually, it's someone who's under 18 years of age. But with organisations like BBC Children in Need and some of the charities they work with, a refugee up to 26 years old can be counted as a child. So they're getting money from BBC Children in Need that's going towards what I would consider and what most reasonable people would consider to be an adult illegal immigrant. And so they're given so much stuff. And also the fact is that when they work, they're not supposed to work, but there's been accounts of them working for food delivery companies, and also they can commit crime. They can go around thieving and whatever else they get up to. So they've got a number of different streams of income coming in, but they are given a lot more than £10 or £50 a week. Like I said, the government give £40 million a year to some big charities that work with refugees. They probably give a lot more than that to smaller charities as well. You've got other charities that don't solely work with refugees but do work with them as part of their work. And the charities that do help them out, obviously being charities, they don't pay business rates, they don't pay a lot of taxes, they can claim gift aid on donations and things like that. So we're probably paying hundreds of millions of pounds a year in taxpayer money for these refugees, like I said, and do-gooders give them things on top of that.